social cohesion,
folkhemmet,
אחידות חברתית,
Soudržnost,
sociale saamwees,
Kurukudumbam.
In physics, cohesion is used to speak about, the bringing together of molecules and the sticking of molecules that are of the same sort. So I think it's important here to look at the metaphorical quality of this word.
So I'm here in Berlin with 14 other people as part of the Alexander von Humboldt's Foundation's residency program on social cohesion. It's an experiment in a way. It's a pilot project, a year-long project that has a 2-month residency component here in Berlin. And the idea is to bring people together from across countries, from across disciplines, even from across generations, to intellectually and practically debate what social cohesion is and see if we can come up with solutions to strengthen it. We have a co-working space, which is a really super cool space in a neighborhood called Wedding, that is itself really vibrant culturally. It's really important to not just stay isolated in our disciplinary or national boundaries. And I think having this international cohort, but also one that is mixing the arts and culture with scholarly perspectives and with writers and journalists is really powerful.
Hello and welcome to the third episode in this short podcast series produced and hosted by the 2022 Residency Program of the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. Today we're asking, how can arts and culture help us imagine a truly cohesive society?
When we are talking about social cohesion, it is about people. And art is always and will always give not the right answer, not the wrong answer, but it will always give an alternative answer. It's about saying, hey, I'm here. Maybe you want to look at my perspective, but then it's also opening the door of what's your story?
Engaging people to construct these new worldviews. I think this is the most important part of art.
Thank you so much for this fascinating conversation.
And it would have been quite easy for us just to sort of download the publications, read each other's work, send each other emails. But it was the sort of the unplanned conversations that I thought were as important as the various events that were planned.
The experience of exploring a new city and how that can just kind of open your mind in addition to these types of discussions.
We actually decided as a group of academics that we are going to do some public engagement. So we drafted 2 questions. The one is what brings people together, and the other one is what keeps people apart. And so we would approach people in the park and just ask them these 2 questions and see what they respond. So that was a wonderful experience, and it's nice to see what we do about social cohesion in action and how people on ground level have different answers for these kinds of things that academics mostly do.
Well, we imagine social cohesion to be a good thing, but I've been challenged in that way of thinking by some of the scholars here who reminded me that where do we have the most amount of social cohesion is in these small kind of homogeneous societies in which everyone is expected to think the same. I don't want to live in a society in which everyone thinks the same. I want there to be diversity.
Cohesion means definitely not similarity. So in the Israeli context, social cohesion means solidarity more than everything, and that's why we use the word solidariut, solidarity much more.
But we need to have a sort of a framework within our society which allows us to sort of express our differences, to behave in different ways, while recognizing that there is still something that sort of binds us together.
The goal is to recognize each other's humanity, because when you don't, that's when you see, history, right? The Holocaust, the Rwandan genocide, the Bosnian War, you can just endlessly name these conflicts. And when you start to humanize each other, and that's when you enter dangerous territory.
So the problems are there all over the world. I think we're all facing the same kind of problems when it comes to acceptance of people with difference. But one very positive takeaway is that we're all trying to deal with it at different levels. So for me, that was the most enriching part of my stay.
all of us here who've been having these conversations with each other, we don't agree. Politically, some of us are in very different places, and yet we can respectfully listen to each other and learn, perhaps change our minds, but if we don't, at least understand that we can still get on with people who we don't agree with. That is the kind of world I want to see us building for ourselves. That, for me, would be a really socially cohesive world.